Okay, so let's start now the second Mamer in the Shabbat Shuva. This is Mamer is Biur al Shuva Yisrael. So it says Isa b'Mishnas Chasidim Sechtas Yuma. Over there, the Mishnah Chasidim Sechtas Yuma be'inyan Zayin Pa'omim Havayu Likim. It discusses over there the 7 times we say Hashem Hu Alikim Sha'imrim B'Neilas Yom Kippurim, that we say during the Ne'ilah of Yom Kippur. This is the language used by the Mishnah Chasidim. Havaya, which is Zo, Zeir Ampin, who Ha'alikim. He's a Likim, that's Nukvachul. That's Malchus. That the Zo is Malchus. And then we have Havaya, that's Havaya Hu Likim, Zo is Malchus. Havaya Zo Chozar Liyas Likim Balois Latika. But the Zo, which is Havaya, goes and becomes a Likim when it goes up to Atik. So it's Havaya Hu Likim when Zo comes down to Malchus. And then when it goes up to Atika, it's again Havaya Likim. Legabe ha'atika kelikim choshuv, because relative to atika, the havaya, the zo, is considered like a likim and l'mitzumtzum. Alkan l'shem. So v'inyan. So what is the idea? Ki yesh beis shiluvim. There are 2 combinations. It's either shiluv havaya ba'adnai. That is Hashem Adnai. Adnai and Elikim is the same thing. It's master. So it's either Hashem comes down to Adnai, or the other way is Vishilu Adnai Behavaya, or Adnai goes up into Havaya. It's either Havaya in Adnai or Adnai in Havaya. Veheim Beis Bechinas Yichudei Lo V'Chud Tato. These are the 2 levels of the upper yichud and the lower yichud. The upper yichud is when Adnai goes up to Havaya, and the lower yichud is when the Havaya comes down to Adnai. This is the rule in Pri Etz Chaim. The first letter that is in the name, that is the one that overpowers. That's the main. So if it's the name is the yud, so nimtzo kishilu adnai b'havaya. When you bring in the adnai to havaya, what is it mishil adnai b'havaya? You say Hashem Elikim or Hashem Adnai. So you have the Adnai included in Hashem, but the first letter, the first name is the Yud, is the Shem Hashem, is Yud Kivovke. Shayud Eis Rishoino, Bechinas Yichudei Lo. So that's the level of Yichudei Lo. Shebechinas Havaya Govar al Bechinas Adnai. The level of Havaya is overpowering Adnai, so that becomes the Yichudei Lo. That's the higher level. And V'nichlal Shem Adnai b'Shem Havaya. The name of Adnai is Shem Havaya. That's when the Adnai is first. You have Hashem Elikim or Hashem Adnai. The Shiluv Havaya ba'Adnai. The other word was Adnai. Yichudei Tato. That is the love Yichudei Tato, because Shaha Aleph Adnai. Because you see Adnai Hashem. So first is Adnai. The Aleph is Eish Rishoino. So Aleph is Rishoino. Shem Adnai Gover Hashem Havaya. Then the Shem Adnai is overpowers the Shem Havaya. V'ayim HaShekosuv v'divra maschel v'yikraftem oile isha. V'inyan. The idea is Ki in Shem Adnai hu Shem Elikim. Really, the same Adnai, we say Hashem Adnai Bavai, the same Elikim. They're both the same level, the Adnai and Elikim. Mashkosu b'mitla mishach sidmanal shelikim hu nukva. But there it says Kim is nukva, and we just said Adnai is nukva. That's zo b'nukva. Hinei b'chinas nukva u'b'chinas dibur. The level of nukva, that's the level of dibur. In other words, Malchus, Nukva, is compared to the Dibur, to the Nefesh, to the person. You have Machshove, you have Dibur. The Machshove is always with the person. The Dibur is separate from the person. That's the level of Nukva, level of Malchus. B'chinas Dibur. What does it mean, B'chinas Dibur? Shu nifra de levush hachitze shel hanefesh. That is separate and an external garment of the soul. When the soul speaks, that means that the soul dresses himself up in something which is separate of the nefesh, and it's an external garment. It dresses up in dibur. It's not similar to machshav. Even though machshav is also a garment, it's not the soul itself, but rather it's a garment of the soul. It's an inner levush, but it's also levush. But then it's similar to a turtle whose garment, the house that it lives in, is from the turtle itself. In other words, not too separate. The levush comes from the kamsa itself, which means shamachshove hi misachedes im hanefesh. The thought unites with the soul. Shekachu derech v'seder b'riyus hanefesh, b'riyus hanefesh hamaskeles. This is the order. This is the way and the order of the health or the creation. The health of hamaskeles, the thing. It's always thinking. There's never a time you're not thinking. Your mind is always thinking. So that means that it's united with the nefesh, because the nefesh is always there. So you're always mashenkin adibur hurak lepamim. Dibur is not all the time. You don't speak all the time. And that also hinges on the want and the desire of the soul. When it wants, it dresses up in dibur or not, but it doesn't. It's not there all the time, as opposed to machshav. So this is also the level when we say malchus, the level of nukva, shehi mekoyin hanifrodim, which is the source for biyah, or brizev, that's the source of those that are separated from godliness. That is the level which we say the supreme speech, which is oisyois v'tzirufim hamafridim liyes ischalkus oilamais ein mispar. Those are the letters and the combination that separate that there should be all the different, distinctive, separate worlds. Ein mispar, without a number, as in the pasuk elef alofim chulu yishamshuni ad sheyiu hanifrodim rabim ma'id ma'id, till you have a lot of separate, many. You have harbe malachim, neshamis, kahena v'kena, such and such. You have a lot of angels, a lot of souls, and so on, and so on and so forth. Ve'ein beis bruyim shavim chulu. And there's no two created beings that are equal to everybody. So this comes all from the various sirufim and the letters that is the level of dibur. Let's look, see it from our flesh. We'll see how it works. So you have beis yadayim sheba'odom. You have the two hands by the person. So they're not exactly duplicate the hands. Achas yemonis v'achas molis. One is right and one is left. They're not similar to one another. Not the same. They're similar, yeah, but they're not the same. Even if you talk about the flesh, which covers the entire body, it's one flesh. Yesh by Mekoimis has different spots in it. There's different places. Yesh Mokum Shul Gavoya, there's a place which is high, Yesh Shul Namuch, there's a place that is low. Cool. Yesh Time Lozal Derech Kabbalah, there is, according to the Kabbalah, there's reason why there's different spots. Gama Mechkorim Chokru Motzukein Chulu, also those who are doing investigating, they found so. They found, like it says in the Kabbalah. So you're saying by just like by the person you see the same person, the same body, and yet there's different places, different. So the same thing is the many different malachim. As Yaakov machne mechol ba'ava, the cap of mechol is with love. Umachne Gabriel b'yira, the cap of Gabriel is with fear. That's by the malachim. Then you have ben Neshamas also. You have Avraham is midas ahava, and Yitzchak is yira. So different levels. And all of them, one is not same as the other one. Where does all these differences come? The source, the root, and the source for the vitality of this creation. There should be all these kinds of the separation. That is the supreme divine. And there is the energy that he provides for them is only from the level of melech, in a way of a king. That's the level of dibur of separation, not invested, not in it, but in the distance. When we touch the word, we say there's no king without a people. You can't be a king on your children. You need the people. What does people mean? Like cholim oimemois means that these are coals which are no longer part of the fire, but they are starting to be extinguished. They're oimemois. That means separate. They're not by the fire. They are separate matter. Shame, and so this level of melech and the level of dibur, the level of nikva, that is the idea of Adnai Velikim. That is to be an Adnai Velikim. What does that mean? A master, a god, liyos, odoin, to be a master of Velikim takif, and a strong Velikim. This is their vitality that sustains them. They should be independent creation, not part of godliness, not felt, but as independent. Asher, Alkain, and that's why each one is separate one from the other. That's the level of Elikim, that's the level of Adnai, the level of Nukva, the level of Melech, the level of Malchus, the level of separation which brings about the Biyah, brings around the Frodim. But yet, it's drawn to them from above the level of Bid, which means so notwithstanding, although they are separate, yet they are subjugate. What's the next word? What is the word? Apostrophe. What is that's well? Vav hey. Amshocha. Yeah, it's Amshocha. Okay. No, I was missing the hey over here. That's why.
That's missing the hey here too. It's just supposed to be.
No. I'm talking the first hey was missing. The ha.
No, it's not.
But when I look it over in the morning, I count. I have certain things I think that it has to be fixed, but I wait to ask you just to make sure. I don't want to, because like this, I have to bother take out the Likutei Torah and check it. It's a tircha. So that's why when I ask you, so that's why. So I have this problem, and the thing I see doesn't. Sometimes I'm so sure I fix it without even having to look, but when I'm not 100% sure, I wait to ask. Okay, so that comes with level of eye. This is Ukeinyan. This is like the idea. Hamshil, the Pasuk says, Hamshil v'fachad imoy. It's a Pasuk in Eiv that the dominance and the fear is with him. That he makes peace in the ones above. What does it mean? He makes peace. Is who? That water will not extinguish fire. Fire usually. Normally, the water would extinguish the fire, and the fire would dry out the water. But here's Eimer Mayim Mechabit. Why? Because they're both subjugated in the source. Because it extends the Hamshel v'fachad them. So you have that level of bittul when you bring down the level of Havaya into the Adnai. That's the Hamshel v'fachad makes the Sholem. That's the Inyan Shil of Havaya ba'adnus. That's bringing down Havaya ba'adnus. In order to combine two levels, the upper level and the lower level, so you require one of two things. To get two things to come together, you need two things. Either you raise the lower one that it brings him up to the top one, or the one of the alien should descend and lower himself to the low top. So Inyan Shiluv Havaya. Right? Havaya. There's Hevav Yud. There's a Yud after, or just a Hevav? The Havaya is spelled Hevav Yud. Shiluv Havaya Ba'adnos. Hainu Inyan Yiridas v'Hamshochas b'chinas al Yoina v'Mayla Lamato. That's bringing down, descending and bringing down the higher level from above to below. That is the subjugation which extends to the created, though they are separate, but they're both. Just that will be in the future to come. It says, so it'll be the Hamshocha Lamato. You'll see godliness. Physically, in the place of this world, the Eir will come down. And about this, the pasuk says in Amos, the pasuk says, "Nafla leisosiv kum." That once it descended, it won't get up anymore. What does that mean? Seems like very harsh, but Itaich Pirush Kum Melosh Nagbo Valim Mailo. Kum means raising in an elevation from below to above. Ki'inyan, like the idea of Ali Soilim of Shabbos V'Yontiv. Like Shabbos V'Yontiv, the Hainu, that would be the direction of Shiluv Adnai Bavaya, to pick up the Adnai and raise it to the level of Havaya, raise it to the level of the higher level. So there will no longer be going up, because everything will come down. Everything will keep on coming down from above to above. In the place of darkness, there will rest the Eir Sobaruch. So you won't have to go up anymore, because everything will be revealed, come down. This is as the sages of blessed memory, when they say about the Eil Mabo, which is the world of Tchiyah, We said she'ein boy lo yachila chulu. There's no eating, there's no drinking. Elo tzadikim yoshvim v'nen chulu. But rather the tzadikim sit and they enjoy the Shekhinah. So once everything will come down, so what does it mean? Does it mean you're not going to eat? They're going to yeshiv v'nen ziv Shekhinah. So there's not going to be any physicality. How are we going to be sustained? Certainly, he's not intending to say that there's going to be no physical limbs. Today we eat and we drink. We have a digestive system. We have the things that energizes us. We're saying no. That in Olam Haba there's going to be nothing. There's not going to be the whole bodily functions the way we know. That can't be so. Because if that is the case, that there will not going to be physical limbs, Michael Mashmalon, what is he telling us? So of course, so what's the big deal is no achila? If it's not physical, so why is there no? What's the big no achila? The neshama before it comes down to Olam Atchiyah, before it comes down in this world, also there's no eating. There's no big deal. It doesn't eat because it's not physical. So why are we saying in the Olam Haba it's going to be no eating? Okay, well, so what's the big deal? It's not a gashmisdik experience. So why was the chiddush? No. Certainly, it's going to be a body and physical limbs. Because when we're talking about here, Elam Haba by Elam Atchiyah, he's not talking about Gan Eden, which is a world for the souls. Elam Atchiyah. We're talking about the resurrection. There'll be bodies. That's the proof when they say Ein Bo Achila, that it's Elam Haba is Elam Atchiyah Ein Bo Achila. We're talking about La'osid Love. We're talking about Chis HaMesim. So we came to La'ovin. So then you have to understand. So if there's no food, so what is there a body? What is their limbs? If there's no food, there's no nothing to sustain it. So it seems like it's in vain. But the idea is shegam haguf evorim hagashmim yiyu nezoinim and aruchnis. That also the body and also the physical limbs will be nurtured from the spirituality. So there will be physicality, but the physicality will get its energy from the spirituality. This that they will enjoy the ray of the Shechina. That becomes the food for the body and the physical limbs, the karbayim, the intestine, the physical stomach. Just as it was with regards to Moshe on the mountain for 40 days. He had a body and limbs physically completely. But they were sustained, they were fed from spirituality. But the difference is, like the Gabi Moshe, after he descended from the mountain, his physical body, the body needed the physical food, because the world wasn't purified. So, yes, he took a break and he was sustained by spirituality during the duration of the mountain. But when he comes down into the world, into the regular world, he needs to eat again. As a place, as opposed to in the future to come, when the physicality of the world will be refined, and all flesh. we'll see that the Eibishter is in the world, then the supreme food will be extended below, also in the dark places in the physical limbs as above. And that level of Amshocha is we're asking on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. V'simloich atohu Hashem Elokeinu. V'simloich atohu Hashem Elokeinu. Who? The who? Shebechinas who? Ubechinas Havai Elokeinu. Sheim bechinas madreges elyonis ma'idin so baruch hu. Those are high levels of the infinite blessed Ein Sof, the light of the infinite. Tiyenu bechinas simloich. Should come the atohu Hashem Elokeinu should become melucha. Tiyenu bechinas melucha v'gilui. Should be in a way of melucha v'gilui. Sheyiyah ha'olam misnagal yodam. That they should lead the world. The world should be conducted by the levels of the Ein Sof. The atohu Hashem Elokeinu. Ba'inu sheyushpa mozin ruchnis le. What's the next word? The kelim. Yeah, the kelim. Vevorim agashmi. I mean, he was missing a lamed. The kelim vevorim agashmi. V'zeu inyan pirush aleph shel havayu likim. That's the first explanation of havayu likim, which means not one level, the two. Ratzleimer beis shuluv manal. Both the Hashem to likim, likim Hashem. Hakoil hu adai mechlal pirush echad shel havayu likim. Those are still one interpretation of havayu likim. The Yichudei Lo, the Yichudei Torah.